Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to be doing an update on my Mayael the Anima commander deck. So let's get started. Here's our commander, Mayael the Anima. She is a 2/3 for 3, and if I tap 6 and tap her, I can look at the top 5 cards in my deck and get a creature card with power 5 or greater and put it onto the battlefield. So this deck is all about getting out big creatures and just overwhelming your opponent. So, for lands, we'll start with the basics. 4 basic forest, 2 basic plains, and 2 basic mountain. We don't really need many basics because we have very few ramp cards that include basics, and in a 3-color deck, you want your mana to be as good as possible. You don't really want many basics because those only make 1 color. So then we'll go to dual lands. We have 1 Savannah, 1 Taiga, and 1 Plateau. Just making 2 colors without any drawbacks. Pretty good. Then for shock lands, Temple Garden, Stomping Ground, and Sacred Foundry. We also play fetch lands, which would be Windswept Heath, Wooded Foothills, and Arid Mesa. Those can get us our dual lands and shock lands. They can also get us basics, but that's kind of pointless because dual lands and shock lands are always better to get. We play pain lands, so that would be Brushland, Karplusan Forest, and Battlefield Forge. Great since you have 40 life in Commander. That 1 damage doesn't really matter that much. Next, we have Sunpetal Grove, Rootbound Crag, and Clifftop Retreat. We also play bounce lands with Selesnya Sanctuary, Gruul Turf, and Boros Garrison. And then we play 1 Wooded Bastion, 1 Grove of the Burnwillows, Raging Ravine. Let it come into focus here. I don't know. It's not coming into focus, but it comes into play tapped, and it taps for a red mana or a green mana, and you can tap 4 and tap it. Oh, there it is. Comes into focus. Now you can read it. Jungle Shrine just adds all 3. Good card. And Command Tower adds all 3. Comes into play untapped. Even better. Mosswort Bridge lets us hide away fatties and put them in. Spinerock Knoll, same deal. Homeward Path stops things like bribery and control magic to let us keep our own fatties. Yavimaya Hollow regenerates guys, so keep them on the board. Thespian Stage, great because it can add mana and it comes into play untapped. And then we can also copy other things if we need more of something else. And it can also, when you copy legendary lands, so if your opponent has Gaia's Cradle or something, you can destroy them. So that's pretty cool. And then 1 Strip Mine. And I'll read it to you since it's in another language. It taps for 1 colorless mana, or you can just tap it to destroy any target land, and you also sacrifice it. Now we'll go to the artifacts. We have 1 Mana Crypt. This card is great because it lets us get 2 colorless for no mana, so it's just massive acceleration earlier in the game, and with 40 life and Commander, that 3 damage doesn't matter too much. A Soul Ring, same deal as Mana Crypt, but instead of damage, you just have to pay 1 mana for it, but still massive acceleration. Collision Relic, this gets us colored mana, and if we don't need it a turn, we can put a charge counter on it and get more mana next turn. Lightning Greaves, just EDH staple, giving our creatures haste for 0 mana, and also gives them Shroud, even better. It's awesome. And we play Mimic Vat. Since we have so many fatties in the deck, when one goes to the grave this way, we can kind of save it for a turn. Whoops, out of focus. And we can use them again later. And also, if one of the opponent's creature dies, if we like it, we can put it on the Mimic Vat as well. For enchantments, we play Sylvan Library. It just lets us choose our draws a bit better. Aura Shards keeps the opponent's artifacts and enchantments off the board. Mayael's Area, it is an alternate win condition, in addition to boosting our creatures and gaining us life. The boosting our creatures and gaining us life happens pretty consistently, and the win condition combos well with Mosswort Bridge Troll and Hamlet-Bat Goliath. Defense of the Heart, just that's any 2 creatures. There's so many good combos with this in this deck, like Avacyn and Novablast Worm, or Woodfall Primus and Terastodon to just destroy a lot of permanents. So, this card's great. Mirari's Wake. Creatures you control get +1/+1, and if you would tap a land you control for mana, add 1 additional mana to your mana pool of any color that land could produce. Just great acceleration. Mana Reflection, even more amazing acceleration, letting us just pour big guys out onto the board. Lurking Predators, a good spell and even better in multiplayer, so when they're casting spells we get more fatties. And now we'll go on to instants and sorceries. Enlightened Tutor just gets us any of the previous mentioned artifacts or enchantments. Swords to Plowshares, just 1 mana removal, great card. Path to Exile, same as Swords to Plowshares. Cultivate, quick acceleration, as well as getting us another land drop for later. Kodama's Reach, same thing as Cultivate. Skyshroud Claim, get 2 forest cards, so we'll normally be getting dual lands or shock lands with this card. Harmonize, draw 3 cards, so in Naya colors that is great, drawing 3 cards for 4 mana, just massive card advantage, especially in green. Natural Order, this is amazing because we can sack little guys like Birds of Paradise or Yavimaya Elder and gets huge stuff. Decimate, amazing card, and it's amazing in multiplayer. It's okay 1v1. Sometimes you have to destroy your own stuff in 1v1, but that's okay because I think 1 for 3 is an okay deal, and in multiplayer, generally just destroying 4 target things for 4 mana, it's great. Austere Command, just board wiping whatever I want. Disaster Radius, clearing my opponent's boards for creatures. Since I play so many fatties, I'm always bound to have something big in hand. Summoning Trap, the trap part about paying 0 doesn't come up too much, but I can always cast it for 6 at the end of my opponent's turn, and it's like a Mayael effect. Green Sun Zenith just lets us early game get Birds to Paradise or any sort of ramping creature, and then late in the game can let us get huge guys. Tooth and Nail basically just lets us get 2 huge creatures of whatever we want and almost wins us the game unless an opponent has some sort of board wiping answer. Titanic Ultimatum, This card either wins the game on the spot or puts me ahead by so much life that it makes it very difficult to lose. No matter if I have a few big guys or a few little guys, this card just gives me huge advantages in combat. Our only Planeswalker is Garruk Wildspeaker, and he's just good at ramping. And then his Trample Overrun effect at the end can also be great for winning games. Now we'll get on to our small creatures without a Power 5 or greater. We have Birds of Paradise, just a ramp. Knotvine Mystic, more ramp. Yavimaya Elder, card advantage. Elvish Piper, getting big guys onto the board for cheap, instant speed. Linvala, Keeper of Silence, shuts down a lot of combos and opposing commanders, just an amazing card. Seedborn Muse lets us attack all out and still stay back for defense, and it also lets Mayael's ability activate every single turn, so I just get so many big guys onto the board, it gets kind of ridiculous. Hamletback Goliath starts out just as a 6. This is creatures with the power 5 or greater now. He starts out as a 6/6 and can get really big really quick, eventually being able to take people out in one swing if he connects, and can win the game with Mayael's area. Mosswort Bridge Troll, just kind of hard to destroy since he regenerates every single time, and with his ability to get +20/+20, he can win the game with Mayael's area. Eternal Dragon, 5/5 flyer that I can get back to my hand and recast, and then early in the game I can use it to find some planes. Sylvan Primordial, this is basically my replacement for Primeval Titan, because it gets land cards, but it also destroys permanents, so that's pretty cool. Non-creature permanents. The reach doesn't come into effect too much, but it's always helpful. Woodfall Primus destroys non-creature permanents, and it has Persist, so it can do it again. Terastodon, more non-creature permanent destruction. Getting any combination of 2 of those with those cards that search them up can destroy an opponent's lands and totally devastate them. Angel of Serenity exiles my opponent's creatures, or I can exile ones from my graveyard so I can get them back. Rith the Awakener makes tokens and is just a big flyer. Godsire, just a huge body on the ground and makes huge tokens. Verdant Force, pretty big body, and we get a 1/1 every single upkeep, so we can start swinging all out with our big guys. We have plenty of little guys to hold back on defense. Bikewood Shepherd, this card gains us life whenever we have a fatty die, including itself. Wormcoil Engine, its lifelink also gains us life, plus it has Death Touch, so it can take down cards even bigger than itself, and then when it dies we get 2 little tokens. More life gain with Windbrisk Raptor. Attacking creatures I control have lifelink, so with how powerful the creatures are in this deck, swinging all out with a whole bunch of huge fatties with lifelink can gain me tons of life. Inferno Titan, just damage to creatures when it attacks and enters the battlefield, so it can help pick off little guys or deal more damage to players. Gruul Rage Beast makes my guys fight things, so helps pick off enemy creatures. Magmatic Force, each upkeep does 3 damage to target creature or player, so it can start killing players once they get down to low life totals, or take out my opponent's little creatures that I don't want hanging around. Bogarden Hellkite enters the battlefield and deals 5 damage divided among creatures and or players, so it can kill creatures, kill planeswalkers, or just take some life total off players, or any combination of those. Nova Blast Worm, when it attacks, destroy all other creatures, So this is good if my opponents have armies, and it combos well with the next few cards. Avacyn, Angel of Hope. She and all other permanents I control are indestructible. So, makes my board super hard to clear, and with Nova Blast Worm, keeps my guys alive. Spearbreaker Behemoth. He's indestructible, and I can tap a colorless to make target creature with a power of 5 or greater indestructible this turn. So, it's kind of like a mini Avacyn. And Vagrant Plowbeasts, a little bit worse version of Spearbreaker Behemoth because it just regenerates things, but still benefits with Nova Blast Worm, keeping my board alive and making it hard for opponents to kill my stuff. Moldgraph Monstrosity, just a huge 8/8 with trample, so it can swing right in and no fear, because when it dies I get 2 creature cards back, so I can get other fatties back onto the board. Razia, Boros Archangel, just a huge flyer with haste, and it can tap to protect my other creatures or itself and take out little guys that my opponents control. Her name doesn't really matter because I can't remember it, but she is an angel, and she has flying and first strike, and whenever damage would be dealt to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it's doubled, and whenever damage would be dealt to me or a permanent I control, it's the damage is reduced by half and rounded down. Iona, Shield of Emeria, just makes my opponents not able to cast color. Just super amazing. Blazing Archon, another amazing card. Akroma, Angel of Wrath, big flyer that swings in. Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, makes my mana double and my opponents only be able to use it every other turn. Puts me at a huge advantage. And finally, we have Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. And at only 10 mana, he's very castable in this deck, so sometimes we do get to draw 4 cards. And a 12/12 with Annihilator 4 just crushes people. I don't play Ulamog because he's difficult for this deck to deal with if somebody uses bribery or gains control of them, and I need to be able to fight off my own creatures if something like that happens, which is the same reason I do not play Blightsteel Colossus. So that is my Mayael deck. Oh, by the way, her name is Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight. And I guess that wrapped things up. If you liked it, please leave a like rating, and I'll try to start doing more videos again, so subscribe to my channel. And if many other people out there who play Mayael, you guys can leave comments saying how your deck is like or different than mine. Maybe give suggestions so I can change, and we can talk about it in the comments. Or if you just have any ideas and want to give input, feel free to leave a comment. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later.